Welcome to the Weekly Thrive Report, and I'm your host, Greg E. Hill, the Culture Change Agent. Man, this week has been, if I had to sum it all up into one word, spectacular. And let me get to it, right? So, this week I had my first opportunity to take a cycling class. I'm talking about Tuesday morning, 5:30 a.m. I'm sitting here on a bike for an hour in an awkward setting. We had like 16 to 20 people on bikes, and we getting it in to contemporary music, to country music, to rap music, to Migos, and it was a good time, man. So as you know, as you can tell right now, this week was high energy, and when you hear this word spectacular, you just think of great and awesome things. That's why when I touch on the great things that happen, it's going to be a lot. I got like more than 3 things this week. It was phenomenal. As always, before I begin, I want to kind of lay the table and set the theme for this episode, the theme of my week, and most importantly, the reason why I do this recap and reflection. Not only to share to the world kind of what I've been going through this week in the post, but more so to encourage and empower you to do your own weekly recap and your own weekly review. Because I tell you, and I promise you this, the last 3 weeks I've been doing these reviews, man, I've been seeing life in a whole different direction, a way more positive thing. And I was talking to a sister after church today, and I said, yo, when you don't reflect, you tend to think about your days and your weeks as like highlights. Like if you had like your car messed up in the week, you automatically think, oh man, I got a bad week. But when you reflect, you get to think of the day before that when you were in line and the lady said, how you doing? When they usually don't, you know, some grocery store people don't even speak. Or when you were looking down on your phone, texting while driving, and you looked up and you hit the brakes right before you hit into the back of the car. Like, those blessings get missed because we're not thinking about the day-to-day interactions, what's going on. We're just thinking about highlights of the week. So I just really hope y'all realizing I'm not just doing these shows, these episodes, just to show people about my life and my ups, my downs, and all that in between. More so because if I'm challenging you to do a reflection, I gotta make sure I do that myself. So to paint the picture for this theme, at my church, I go to Southside Church of Christ, we had our youth explosion this week. And on Wednesday night, we had a parenting class, and I jumped into the parenting class, and for all y'all listening, I do not have a kid, so I'm not preparing for a kid, but I just thought it'd be good for me to go to the parenting class. And it struck my attention when a sister in the church, she had a daughter. Her daughter's 9 years old, and she said, she had a question. She said, my daughter's 9 years old, and yesterday she asked me, is sex good? Like, what is sex? And she says, oh, what the word? She was throwing off a little bit. And she was like, so why are you asking me that question? You said, because I always hear it's rapped about and talked about on the radio, and the kids around my school, they're talking about it, and I just want to know what it's all about. And you see the sister's face just kind of burn tears because of the society we live in, that we have 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, and if you're an elementary teacher or you teach elementary education in some capacity, you know what I'm talking about. They have to deal with that stuff on an everyday basis because societal norms are just prevalent everywhere. And we just had to have that conversation. That kind of led me to kind of the theme of the week, and not on the same scale but different. And I'm mature enough, cause I ain't gonna lie, I still listen to rap music, but I'm mature enough to just take certain things from it. And today and this week I was bopping to Future's Mask Off. Like I was just, you hear that flute? It just gets you in a little zone, like a focus zone. And when I was listening to that song, the main thing, of course, was the chorus, like mask off, mask off. I ain't cursing on this thing. And when I heard that, something in my spirit was saying, guys, what would life be like if everybody lived with their mask off? What would life be like if everybody lived with their mask off? And when I say that, it's because, I mean, as I was going through this week and I was meditating, I'm teaching students, I'm going to church, I'm working on my mixtape, I'm seeing all these different things, and I'm like, man, I'm starting to finally become the person I need to be, or the person that God wants me to be, or the person that I know I have the potential to be, because I'm starting to live without my mask. My first book, I kind of uncovered a little bit part of my mask about me being homeless, me being depressive, me being suicidal, all those things. But I still wasn't reaching there because every single day I wasn't living in my true purpose. And year after year, I'm beginning to kind of take the mask off so I can have better relationships with the people, better relationships with my family, better relationships in every aspect of my life. But I go through life and I see so many people, and we're conditioned to do this way. You know the game. When Monday comes, when you go to work tomorrow, like, how's your day been? Oh, my day is going well. How was last week? Oh, last week was great. How was the weekend? Oh, it was phenomenal. We don't have too many real conversations no more, so the majority of my day is spent with a mask on. We at work, we get the same expressions. We around our kids, we get the same expressions. And only time we ever take our mask off is sometimes in our dreams. Sometimes talking to significant others. And if you don't have a significant other, you might be wearing your mask every single day. And imagine the toll that takes on somebody's lives. So the theme of this, what I'm talking about today, the theme that I want you to put in your mind is to take your mask off. Imagine what your relationships would be if you just had more real dialogue and real conversation. Imagine what your life would be if you just said, yo, you said, really, if my mask is off, I don't need to be around that person. What would life be like if we just took our mask off to where we need to be? For my college students, the right major, the major we know that really wakes us up in the morning. I asked my high school students today, or last week rather, I said, imagine yourself in 10 years, what's going to wake you up in the morning? What job is going to say, man, I'm excited about Monday? We got way too many people waiting Friday. Way too many people wishing away weeks. I had somebody say, I wish it was December. I said, yo, you're going to wish away 7 months of the year. I don't understand. But just imagine what life would be like if we had more real and organic conversation. Because honestly, in order to solve a problem, one, you got to raise the problem. And then two, you have to realize that you have a problem. That's why so many people are stuck. Because they still wearing that mask that everything's okay. You're not going to pay off that credit card bill if you don't realize that you have problems spending. You're not going to change your job and go to the career you need to go to if you don't realize, hey, this is not your space and you need to open up and execute and maybe take your game to the next level, go to some personal development, get better at your craft. You looking for a raise and you ain't better at your job. I know I'm preaching now, but you know it's Sunday. I'm just coming from church, so I got a little moment right now. But I just challenge everybody that's listening right now to think about one area they like. I don't know which area it is for you. To say, what is it going to take for me to take off my mask? What is it going to take for me to be the person that I know I am? Have the conversations I know I need to have. Address the people and take them out or bring them in order to make my life another thing. What is something that a habit that I need to stop doing in order to really take things to that next level? So I just challenge you on that. I know I was in it, but let's get to the great things that happened. First great thing that happened. My brother from elementary school got married yesterday. As you see the picture right there. Man, it was an amazing wedding. I got a lot from it. I mean, honestly, he was walking down the aisle. I almost caught a tear. And I was like, great, you can't be crying up front. But I mean, it's, you know, there's something emotions about a wedding that men say, yo, I need to have a family. I need to have kids. It just looks so peaceful. You see all these people with their families and all that other stuff. And then you realize, like, after the wedding, they got to go home to them. But it was just a surreal feeling. I was just privileged enough to be a part of it. The second great thing, which I didn't know that was going to be a great thing heading into the week, is my little brother, junior high school, had the opportunity to stay with me all weekend. Our bond and the things that we talked about, the words I learned, and just me being in his presence every single day, picking him up from school, taking him to school, and all that good stuff, man. It helped our relationship so much. So I just cherish that moment. Another great thing that happened is a kid in my class by the name of Marquette. He got a certification exam in the class. I teach Excel and Access, and he got a certification. And I tell you, this kid came in lazy as all get out, no work ethic, and 2 weeks before the class end, already secured his head and already got a certification. And I was talking to him like, Marquette, like, why don't you take this thing to the other classes? And he said, Mr. Dale, you're the only teacher that showed any interest in me. Showing interest, even if you, like, in your head, you're like, man, I'm not interested, I don't want to talk to nobody, whatever. Showing interest in your kids and your children allows them to kind of identify and then want to listen and receive when you have advice, when you want to share all this stuff. So me just continuing to mold and to seep stuff into Marquette allowed him to get that. So I just keep y'all in the prayers that he takes his game the same effort and concentration he took in my class to take the other classes. Also, I want to shout out a great thing that happened. Thank y'all for subscribing to the channel. I know last week I was pumped. I was excited to get 2 more subscribers. We got 20 more this week, so thank you so much. Remember, if you're watching this, you ain't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. So I appreciate that. And last but certainly not least, last Monday night I had the opportunity to build with my brother, Sidney Evans and Evie, and get the draft theme of the album done. I'm excited. June 16th, that's the day it's going live. Remember You're a Genius, the album. And it was just a great organic session. I can't wait for y'all to share. This album's going to be in a whole different level. And I'm nervous to put it out there, but I'm excited because we're crafting something spectacular for you. Big idea of the week, big idea of the week. I know what happened at Minority Trailblazer Summit. I talked about it last podcast. There's going to be a summit in March 2018 for some of the best minority entrepreneurs, change makers, people in education. All that and the third will be meeting in Durham, North Carolina, building and growing together. There'll be panels, be workshops, question and answers. So the great people you see on the Minority Trailblazer podcast, the people you see online is doing amazing things. We're going to bring them all to one space so we can all learn and grow together and see what it looks like, what it takes, step by step, brick by brick, to take whatever you're working on and take it to that next level. And I thought about the idea of having cohorts. So we have beginners, the middles, and the experts, so that we can kind of put these people in a group. So say if you're just starting a blog, you get a chance to partner with somebody that's expert in blogging. You get a chance to also work with people that's beginning, so y'all can share y'all struggles and see how y'all get to the next level. Because I realize sometimes the benefit is not always learning from experts. Sometimes the benefit is just learning from people that's one step above you. Not the people that's one step above you, because you can't relate sometimes with what the experts are saying because you're not at that level. But you can relate when you just start getting there and somebody says, like for instance, when blogging, you're first, how to get to 100 subscribers. If you look for strategies on how to get to 1 million and you don't know how to get to 100, where's the gap? The gap is the person that got 1,000. They can say, okay, here's what things I did to get to that 100 subscribers. And then once you get to 1,000, look for the guy that got 10,000, 10,000, 100,000, and move like that rather than always waiting for scraps from the people that got 100,000, especially if you don't got a couple $1,000s to pay for the training courses. That's free advice right there. Thank you. That's free advice right there. Thank me later. Recommended book of the week, tool, or resource. This week's recommended tool or resource is Eric Thomas's podcast episode. What episode is it? Episode 64. And he says, if you're only loyal to the outcome, you'll never get the level of success you need, because if you don't reach the outcome, your effort is going to go down, your enthusiasm is going to go down, your grit and determination to get it done is going to go down. So he speaks about being loyal to the journey, taking it step by step, loving the great moments, learning from the bad, and thinking about it every single day. My big takeaway of the week is a quote. I say quotes to 100 people every single morning, and this quote hit home to me is, don't cling to a mistake just because you took a long time making it. I'm going to repeat, don't cling to a mistake just because you took a long time making it. And there's a lot of things as far as in relationships, as far as businesses, as far as ideas that I spent a lot of time within it, and I know I made a mistake and I'm clinging to it just because I'm looking at, I spent a year in this relationship, I spent a year working on this book, I spent months working on this idea, instead of, hey, just learn the lessons, going and moving on. So I don't know who's out there that can identify in that. But I'm telling you, whatever mistake you on there, do not just cling to it just because you spent a year, 2 years, whatever. Learn what you need to learn. The one thing that I need help on is keep me in prayers as far as growth in love. This week I want to focus on loving people for who they are, not for the standards that I set for them. Because sometimes I set standards that I couldn't even live up to, but standards that don't even exist, because who am I to create these standards? And I just want to become a more loving individual, a more caring individual, and sincerely just do whatever I can to see people grow. So before I say something negative, I want to say 10 things positive. That's what I'm working on this week. Before I say something negative, I want to try to say 10 things positive. That's my one area of growth that I want to grow on this week. My goal for next week, side note, last week's goal was to have the shop up. The shop is not up, but as you can see, we have the designs for the Minority Trailblazer and Change the Culture t-shirt and hoodies. They're going to be out within the next couple weeks. So for the summer, make sure you cop your little shirt. Make sure you cop a hoodie. Support the movement. I'm excited. Hope y'all like the designs. It's going to be out there shortly. And then last but certainly not least, my challenge to you is simple. This week, on a day-to-day basis, I don't care if it's a sentence, a word, or a whole paragraph, make sure you take some time to reflect. I know I said at the beginning of the year why I do this, but take some time to reflect. And I might have a bonus for you if you send me your reflections to greg@gregehill.com. I may have something for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to another weekly Thrive Report. I pray you got at least one thing from it, and you already know how I'm about to end. First, make sure you subscribe. Maybe leave a comment if you felt something before, or you have some words of advice or wisdom, whatever. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel, and remember to change the freaking culture. Good night.